Welcome to the Heart of Health and Science. It's a podcast that's for people who have been in the healthcare field for a long time and people who are just now thinking about joining the healthcare field. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that is near and dear to any leader, especially in healthcare or any other industry. It's a topic of the generations in the workforce. Specifically, today we're going to be talking about Generation Z. And how are they shaping healthcare? How are they shaping the industry? How are they shaping business? What is it that they're seeking? What are they wanting? What are they looking for? What are they bringing to the fields that is so unique and makes the organizations they're working in and for poised for that next step of excellence? So I have two very special guests today that I'm going to introduce very, very soon. But I want to share a little bit of a story about part of my background when I first went into healthcare. Now, I'm not part of Generation Z. I'm a Generation Xer. And when I came into the healthcare field, I was 15 years old. And in that time, in that day, if you wanted to be a nurse, you had to start as a nursing assistant. You had to. And so I went a step further and started before I became a certified nursing assistant or a CNA, and I was what was called a candy striper. Today, it's a volunteer teenager or a volunteen. Then it was a candy striper. And we got to wear these little bib overalls, skirt, shirt, pink and white, and it just set us apart. And we were all so proud of being a volunteer in healthcare. That made us more accepted in a CNA program. And so we go to CNA school, we get certification, and then we come into the healthcare field. And in my case, into nursing. I worked as a CNA through nursing school every summer, every holiday to get through nursing school itself. And then when I came into nursing school or came into the field of nursing, I started on night shift. And it was just given. I started where the need was, and that was in night shift. And that was on a really busy medical floor of the hospital. And I slowly, over time, worked my way into different positions. Today, it's not quite the same. Sometimes we have openings throughout weekends, throughout day shift, throughout night shift. And when a new graduate comes into the workforce, they can oftentimes say, this is what I do want to work. This is what I do not want to work. And typically we have what they're looking for available. So that's very, very different from when I started. So today, I could talk about myself all day, obviously, but today I'm not going to do that. I am going to talk to our guests today and let them share a little bit about what it's like to be in the generation that is shaping the workforce today. We have Hannah Stieb joining us. She's our employee health nurse at Liberty Hospital, and Ashlyn Vermeer, who is a human resources associate. First off, I'd like for you guys to share a little bit about who you are, what you do, a little bit about you, and what you bring into the field as someone in that Generation Z grouping. So I want to make sure I have my facts straight here. Those who are in the Generation Z grouping, as a group, they really enjoy making sure the culture is one that fits right with what you hope for, what you're striving for, your beliefs, your value system, your ethic, your requirements for the workplace. The culture has to fit that. Otherwise, you won't be happy there. And if you're not happy in your workplace, you'll find a different workplace. That is such a unique feature that you bring. I was brought up to be committed to the organization I work, no matter what. And so I spent a lot of time early on really being unhappy where I worked because the culture was not one that fit me at all. But because I was always taught, you start and you finish. You don't leave halfway. I stuck it out as long as I could until I finished school or I moved or something. But I always stuck it out. And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, especially now, because so many organizations are doing so much culture work to make sure that the culture is one that is welcoming, inviting, and all-encompassing for a minimum of 4 generations in the workforce. It's a lot of work. It's very deliberate work to make sure that all of those needs are met. Liberty Hospital was named one of America's greatest workplaces for Generation Z. And I'm really excited about that. And I really want to hear what you think about the workplace and what you think are the wins that are in the workplace that you're experiencing and things that you would like to see. So with that, Hannah, I'm going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about what you're bringing to us from your view, from your generation, the unique skills that you have, and how we can best meet your needs.
Yeah, great to be here. My journey into healthcare kind of started. I went to nursing school and graduated in 2020, right at the beginning of COVID.
Oh.
I also did minor in women, gender, and sexuality studies, which has really kind of influenced my nursing career as well. But jumped right into a level 4 NICU, and that's really where the background of the bulk of my nursing career lies. And so I started out in Columbia, Missouri, where we lived for quite a while. My daughter spent some time in the NICU there, and that's why I was so inspired to step into that work there. And so worked there, and then ultimately my time there led me to the adoption of my son, who was a former 26-weeker once we moved to Kansas City about 3.5 years ago. And so when we moved here to Kansas City, I worked in a clinic, an ambulatory clinic for just a bit that served like the underserved and underinsured population. Really enjoyed that work there. And then from there, I've done pediatric home health for both my son. And then recently last year, started here with Liberty Hospital as an employee health nurse. And when you talk about culture, the culture here is amazing, and it's unlike anything that I've ever experienced in my healthcare experience. And so I really, like I said, enjoy my time here. Everyone's so inviting, and I think that's really one of the things that Gen Z looks for is those relationships and that support from the work environment. In employee health, I work with 3 other registered nurses, and jokingly enough, I call them my work moms because they're a little bit older than me, and they offer a lot of experience and expertise and support kind of as I go through my journey here in healthcare. So,
Wow, that is a lot.
yeah.
That's a lot. I had no idea of your nursing background. That's fascinating. I love that you've worked for the underserved population, worked with them. I'm sure you learned so many valuable skills to bring forward. And what is really important to those that we are serving from Liberty Hospital, that we're serving in the community, because we're a very community-facing organization.
Right.
And we're so honored to be able to serve those that we serve. And you have such a unique perspective on that, one that I would like to tap into, actually, and learn more about.
For sure.
So, well, that was a lot. Also, I would like, Ashlyn, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit of your story.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having us on today. I'm so excited to be here. And with Hannah, too, we get to work really closely together. So this is a really fun opportunity. But my journey into healthcare looks a little bit different. I don't work in the clinical side of things, but I work in HR, and it's been a really good time. So my story kind of starts back the summer before my senior year of college. I got an internship in downtown Kansas City in an HR setting, and I just kind of fell in love with the work. I fell in love with being able to support the workforce and the things that they were doing, and having an impact in that way. So when I went back for my senior year, I started taking some HR classes, and that's where I met one of my mentors in college. Her name is Susan, and she actually happened to be the vice president of HR at the hospital there in Hannibal. So I met her, and I just got to see how respected she was amongst the community and the difference that she got to make through her role, and how she truly valued for and cared for people in such a special way. So I was very thankful when a position opened up at Liberty for me to come in and take a seat at the HR table at Liberty. Was very exciting, and I kind of got to model after her footsteps. So she played just a big role in how I see HR, and that it is a role of the organization that really matters, and you can really affect people through your position. So I've been at Liberty now for about 1.5 years, and I agree with Hannah 100%. The culture here is unlike anything I've ever experienced. It's so inviting, so welcoming. They want you to grow. They want you to grow within your career. And I've seen that. There's so many people within the organization who have been here for years and years and years, and they can't say enough good things about it. So I'm very thankful to be here as well.
Wow, you both have such fascinating stories. I'm just going to keep digging in. Staying with you, Ashlyn, could you describe a typical work day that you experience, And also, as you've been working with people through human resources, what fields do you think are emerging, or what is that next big push for people to come into the workforce?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. A typical day for me, I work a lot with new hires and transfers. So I do some data entry, but I also get to help with our new hire orientation. So I get to meet almost every one of our new hires, which is so fun for me. People coming into the workforce, some people my generation, some people in older generations. And so that's just a really fun spot for me to be in. I also get to do some recruitment. So a cool thing about our team is everyone does a little bit of everything, which has been a really cool opportunity for me to have my hand in a lot of different areas of HR. So things I consider to be emerging, I would say definitely, I think you hit on it in the beginning, is culture. I know we've restructured our new hire orientation to be very inclusive and very inviting for those new hires who come on. And we know that's a crucial stage of an employee is their first 90 days at an organization. So I would consider that to be very emerging. Anything that has to do with technology, like you said, we're the I generation. We're very, very fluent in all things technology. So I think people also value things like flexibility and being able to work from home. And I think positions that support those are definitely emerging here for our generation.
I would agree with that. I have kids that are probably your age. I have 2, and then my daughter has 3 littles. So I have 3 grandchildren, the youngest being 4. And honestly, the little 4-year-old, he picks up an iPhone or he picks up a tablet, and his little fingers just go to work on that, and he's moving things. And I'm fascinated just by watching him. It's almost intuitive. It seems like to him that, he picks up some electronic device, and his little fingers just know what to do. And if he has a question, he doesn't ask mom, he doesn't ask dad, he certainly doesn't ask me very often. He asks his 7-year-old sister, who is the expert in the room, typically, to come and help him problem solve a tablet. 4 and 7, almost 8. Wow. And it just blows my mind. I remember watching Star Trek, for heaven's sakes, and the guy named Scotty was on there, and he would be looking at, like a glass desk, and he would just be moving things, and then he would project it up on a screen, and I was like, that is the coolest thing, as if that would ever happen. Well, we do that now every day. We poke things around on a computer bigger than the Starship Enterprise, and it's a phone. It's more powerful than the first rocket ship that went up to outer space. I read that somewhere. I don't know if it's accurate, but I read it somewhere. It's in a handheld device that we are very, very comfortable with. It's just fascinating to me. So Hannah, how about, what is your typical day, and what do you see emerging in the healthcare field?
Yeah. So as an employee health nurse, I also have a very dynamic position, kind of also working a lot with the new hire onboarding and orientation experience. Every single new employee that comes into the Liberty market comes and meets with one of our employee health nurses, me included. And we do like a typical medical screening, get to know them a little bit better, make sure that they're fit for duty, and really get to introduce them to that HR team. And like I said, be that first face that new employees see here at Liberty. And that's one of my favorite parts of my job here. I also work a lot with occupational and bloodborne exposures. I do a lot of CDC reporting on vaccination status, and even some workers' compensation work as well. So like I said, very dynamic. Get to kind of dabble in a lot of different things, which I really enjoy about this position. Kind of that one thing that I feel like is pushing those into the workforce, and Ashlyn touched on so many of these good things, I think, is that flexibility piece. But also just having the ability or wanting to make an impact on those around you and around us. I think that's a lot of the reason a lot of employees come to Liberty Hospital, and they want to get their foot in the door here, and they want to start because they know here at Liberty they can really make an impact on not even just other employees even, but members of our community. And so I think that's the biggest push or trend that I've seen, at least.
I've also seen people come into Liberty Hospital and be surprised about how welcoming and encouraging our culture is. And they come in, the first thing is, I need a job. And how is this going to benefit me? All of us have that exact same need. We all need to be working, right? And how is this going to best benefit me? How are my hours? How is the pay? How am I going to achieve any balance between work and my life? I know that currently it seems as though our workforce is overscheduled. Their lives are just overscheduled. And my generation raised your generation, right? And what is it that we did right? What is it that if we could do it again, we would, that has shaped the way you view things? In my case, my kids watched me work a lot. And they saw me have that mom guilt a lot of times because I missed things. And I was just having a conversation with my son last week, actually, because we were talking about Thanksgiving and planning around Thanksgiving and the holidays coming up. And he said, it doesn't matter what day we do Thanksgiving. We've never really had a holiday on the holiday anyway. And I just kind of sat back and looked at him, and it hit me like a block wall, because it's true. I work in healthcare, and I'm very committed to it. And people, they don't choose to be sick on a holiday. They don't choose to have a stroke on a birthday. They don't choose to have a heart attack or a car accident or need surgery on early morning, 3:00 in the morning, or on Christmas Day or New Year's Day. They don't choose that. But those of us who are in healthcare, we're there, and we're ready to meet them where their need is. And we consider it an honor to be able to do that. On the flip side, we never had a holiday on the holiday. I used to joke around with the kids, hey, Thanksgiving's going to be on Thursday this year. And they were like, oh, I thought it was a Saturday thing. Okay, a Thursday? And, so it became a joke, in our house. But I don't know if that's a win or a not such a win that my kids experienced through my work. So as you're looking at the workforce now, or looking at the work requirements, I guess, now, is that as big a deal as it feels like it could or should be? Is that a fair question?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So I think growing up for me, I grew up in a culture where work kind of came first. You worked, and that's how you were successful, and that's how you took care of your family. And so I think in taking that idea and kind of where my generation is, and kind of what we're looking for, I think we're more centered around having those holidays on the actual holiday. And we're recognizing that importance of spending time with those families and taking a break maybe from our professional role at that time to set aside time for our family. And so, and I'm not saying that's something that was wrong. I think that taught us a lot of lessons. Like I said, my parents, they valued work, and I grew up, and that's how you become successful, and that's how you take care of things. And I think that was a great lesson to learn. And I have adapted a lot of those qualities, but I think also in learning and recognizing that important work-life balance, and also kind of prioritizing things and recognizing, hey, it's important for me. And I think others in our generation too, that it is important to have Christmas on Christmas, and it is important to have Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving. So really going along with that work-life balance. And we love our patients, and we, like you said, we work in healthcare, and it never stops. So I think that takes a lot of teamwork too, even
It really does.
in the workplace with your team, and kind of helping everybody kind of meet those goals as they wish. So yeah.
I would agree. I think you can be the best professional you can be by having, and people seeing you as a holistic person. Like your life isn't just work, there's also that personal life aspect. And I think you can also be a better professional because of that personal life aspect and having that family. But I think, coming from the generation above us that was very focused on work, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it shows your heart. You have a true heart for the patients and the families that you support. And I think that's amazing. And I think there's a good balance we can strike there of like really truly having that heart, but knowing that recharging with your own family and having that time to just be a person is also so important and can make you better in your professional role.
I'm sure both of you have experienced many conversations of people coming into or back into the workforce and how they're trying to find that right balance. What kind of things could you recommend to people looking for that balance? Do you talk about PRN work or, the as needed work, part-time, full-time, weekends? I mean, do people ask a lot of questions about that? Just trying to, from the very beginning, try to establish what that balance is going to look like for them.
Yeah, I think the PRN part-time conversation is a really good conversation, but I also think open communication can be a really big thing in the workforce. Just kind of a personal story from me. I love the people I work with. I will say that over and over again. I just love them, and they really do support that personal, development in your personal life. And also, if you want to go get a certification or go back to school, they're very supportive of that too. So for me, I have a big heart for mentorship, discipleship of the younger generation even. And so I came to my boss recently. I was like, hey, I have an opportunity to coach a middle school basketball team. Is that something that we could be supportive of? Or is that an opportunity that I should let pass right now since we're in the throes of integration and we have a lot going on? And my boss looked at me, and it's something I'll never forget. She goes, Ashlyn, we're going to support you in whatever way so that you can do that, because we know that's important to you. And so it's important to us. And we love that you have a heart for that. And we want you to be able to do that. So whereas I think PRN roles are a really good option, or part-time roles are a good option, I think just having open communication with people, because we want to support one another, within a workforce. And when we have a good culture like that, we are able to have those good open conversations about our personal life, and they know what you're passionate about, both professionally and personally. So I think having that good open communication is a good start.
Yeah, I've heard many leaders talk about how hard it is to have those type of conversations and open communications, because they receive a text message as opposed to a phone call or coming in and actually talking. Because it seems as though what they've told me, that their story this time, not mine, is that people seem uncomfortable coming in and actually talking to them, but they'll talk very freely by text, but having that face-to-face conversation is more uncomfortable. What kind of things do you think we can do to help facilitate those types of conversations, the face-to-face? And how can we make that more comfortable, I guess, for those that are more accustomed to a virtual conversation?
Yeah, I think that's also a great question. I think we have to be okay with the uncomfortable. I think technology is advancing in so many different ways that are so amazing and are going to be so value added to our culture and the workforce that we're in right now. But we also be able to connect as people, and we need to be able to have uncomfortable conversations, even when we get told things we don't want to get told. Even if it's something that we disagree on, and come to a point of we just respect one another and we care for one another on a human level. And I think that's something I've really had to learn is I would rather have a 5-minute uncomfortable conversation than kind of sitting in, being angry or being upset at someone in those things. And that's okay. And I think you can explain and you can hear tone. I'm really big. I don't know if you've heard our generation talk about it. When people use periods, it's like, you're really yelling at me in your text message right now, which is
by
so
using
silly.
a period in a text message,
or
oh my Lord,
or capitals.
Capitalization.
Yes. And so I think tone can really get thrown off in those things. So I'm a big proponent for in-person conversations or call someone up, get them on the phone, because you can hear my heart for it. Like, I'm not mad, I'm not angry, and I know you're not mad and you're not angry, and we can just have open, honest conversation.
I think that also has to do a lot with your dynamic, even with your leader. My leader here at Liberty, she's an amazing human being. And from the second I started working here, we've had one-on-one conversations, and she'll come check in, and, we're not always talking about work related things. And I think that's one of those important parts of our generation too, is we want to have a relationship with our coworkers and our leaders that's maybe not just about business and work all the time. And I think that's also so important. And just the dynamic and the tone of your team and how they work together. And you have to kind of get to know each other well and develop that rapport and those relationships. And so kind of like Ashlyn said, while our generation is so comfortable with the text message, I think with encouraging those personal conversations in the workplace, even from the leader to the team member, that helps open that environment to where they feel more comfortable coming and talk to you face to face. I recently started going to school for my master's of nursing administration this summer. And I know that alongside that coming up, there will be like some internships and maybe some time that I might need off work too to participate in those activities and that coursework. And so before I started, I felt comfortable in going and talking to my leader. Her name is Michelle. And I said, I would really kind of like your blessing or your support, before I dive into this, because this is so important. And this is a track that I would love to go down and to grow in my career, and just kind of gather her thoughts and ideas regarding that. And kind of similar to Ashlyn's experience, she was really supportive of that. She said, we will make it work and we can have some flexibility there so that you can go down that path and you can succeed in your professional career as well. And so, yeah.
So to add on to that, how then would you define a great place to work?
Like I said, having those open relationships with your team members, like I said, our culture here is absolutely amazing. Everybody seems to know everybody. And I love that little aspect of what it feels like our smaller hospital. You can be walking down the hallway and everyone, you say hi or you smile. And everyone's just so inviting and seems to know everybody. And I love that. And that's like what surprised me the first day I started. I also got to meet Dr. Adiga, our CEO. I've never got to meet the CEO of anywhere I've ever worked before. And so just like those personal relationships and getting to meet people and not just feeling like a number, I think is so important and one of those things that our generation looks for. And so, I think just the culture and encouraging those relationships and just like the kindness and invitingness. I could say a million words to describe our culture. I think that's what makes Liberty such a great place to work and affects the care that we deliver.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, it's a very intentional culture. We really sat down and did a lot of soul searching. Who are we? How are we presenting ourselves? How do we want to? How can we be better? And how can we say that we are a premier organization in the Northland that is meeting the health needs of those that we serve and meeting the needs of those that are working in our organization? How can we meet the community and our team? How can we best meet that? And then we were able to join forces with a organization that's the University of Kansas Health System, and they're very focused on culture as well. And they have a formula, actually, that they've taught us. And the very thing that's in the very middle, in the center of their formula in every decision they make is people. And by people, they're talking about their team. And then those that they serve. If the staff that are working with the patients are free to do an excellent job, then they will. And then the patients in turn will say, this has been amazing. I want to come here for all of my healthcare needs. And that's where we were going anyway, very deliberately. And when we joined with this organization and they have a formula for exactly what we were doing, I thought, this is good. This is going to be good. As far as our size, I hear a lot of people saying that Liberty Hospital is a small hospital. I've worked in a lot of hospitals for two reasons. One, my husband was active duty military, and we moved around as the military does. And the second reason is because I worked as a consultant for about 8 to 9 years. And with both of those things happening, I was able to work in a lot of different organizations, very, very small organizations and large organizations. And we're not very small and we are not very large. It's kind of like the Goldilocks story. We are that one right in the middle, and we are just right because we're large enough to be able to offer open heart surgery. We're able to offer neurosurgery or brain surgery, back surgery, spine surgery, orthopedics. We do so much. We have a level 2 nursery in our OB department, so much that we're able to offer that if we were small, we wouldn't be able to do that. And if we were huge, like the University of Kansas Health System is, we would be able to do that on a larger scale and much more. And we're able to do all of that now with this affiliation, maybe not necessarily at our campus, but through our organization now, which I love. I love being able to have that kind of a partner right at our fingertips. I love that. So you've both talked about how flexibility is important and how the culture is important. So I want to break that down a little bit more. When you talk about flexibility, I know that you're talking about more than your schedule. So I loved what you said, that your upline said to you, if it's important to you, it's important to us, and we absolutely will support you in that. I love that answer. That's exactly what our culture encourages and expects actually now. So when you talk about flexibility and you talk about that positive culture, what types of things beyond schedules are you referring to when you say flexibility is important?
So I think a big part of our culture here at Liberty is that we all kind of take care of each other. And just to kind of share a little bit of a personal story, about 5 months ago, my house caught fire, and it burnt down while I was on an airplane to Disney World, actually.
Wow.
And so the first person I called was my leader here at Liberty. And I felt really comfortable in doing that. And, she was really assuring and saying, we're going to help you get to where you need. We're going to provide that support, whether that's time off, providing some resources. And so I think even that's part of that flexibility piece and taking care of each other, recognizing kind of what our needs are and being able to kind of adapt so that we can take care of each other as employees so that we can deliver that best care. And so that's just one personal experience for me, like I said, that really displays that for me alongside, like I shared with my education experience, being supported in those things. And I keep going back to recognizing the needs of each other, because we have to take care of each other first before we can take care of everyone else and deliver the best care. So
yeah, I think of being on an airplane, and if there's any reason that you need to use that oxygen mask, they tell you put yours on first.
Right.
And that's what pops into my head when you're talking about meeting the needs of our team first, so then we can meet the needs of others. It's the right thing to do, regardless of what generation you're in. It's the right thing to do, and I really think that what your generation. I hate being so using such generalities about that, but what you've brought forward is teaching the older generations how important and valuable that is, even to them, right? Because if they've not ever experienced that kind of flexibility and that kind of support from the workplace, then they've really been losing out.
And I think it's so important. Healthcare is a really cool space where you can see a 16-year-old starting at the hospital, maybe in food service or EVS, in those departments, or you can see somebody who's 60 or 70 years old, like on a nursing unit, leading, and you get to have all those generations together. And so I think it's a cool piece that we get to bring in, is like, we value add in these ways, but we also see people who are so experienced. And I think that's the thing about the culture, is those people who are so experienced have taken us under their wing and have cared for us and wanted us to grow and know more about our positions and our careers. I mean, for me, especially, I've only been in the workforce for a year and a half. I've been out of school for a year and a half, and getting to see the relationships that those people, they're so busy, but they will take any opportunity to teach me, to help me grow. I said, hey, I'm kind of excited about recruitment. And they said, well, let's teach you how to do a phone interview. Let's come sit with me as I do this one. And so that you can take that on for yourself. And I think that's something that's really cool. And that's why we need the melded generations. We're talking very generationally right now, but that's why we need everyone in those different positions to be able to teach and grow us and kind of refine us as we're moving up, because, we're younger and we're learning. But we're also bringing those value added things coming from the perspective of culture and flexibility too. So
yeah. So what type of things are important to you about learning and how to do that? Is it more than being able to take on a graduate program, for example? I'm sure it's more than that. And you talked about taking those new to the workforce under our wings and teaching. I have the opportunity to work with somebody just like that, who said, I want to be a CNO one day. I don't have the first idea how to do that. And I said, well, let's start getting together every couple of weeks. Let's just sit down. Let's just carve out some time and sit and talk. Ask any question that you want, and I'll answer as honestly and truthfully as I possibly can. I can tell you the amazing parts of the role and the parts that really are challenging about the role, and we will get you to where you want to go. And she was blown away by that because you've talked about our integration work and how, since we've partnered with the university, the University of Kansas Health System, that we've been doing a lot of work learning who they are, they learning who we are, and how we can best bring that together as one organization. And that's called integration. We're integrating the two organizations together as one, and that has taken a lot of focus work. But the work that we're doing on a day-to-day basis that is not part of that integration work remains incredibly important. And I think the most important part of that is maintaining the relationships with the people that work in our organization and will remain there. So that flexibility, mentoring or discipleship, I think I heard that word too, being willing to answer questions. I will learn not to use a period in a text. That will be hard for me. You didn't have Miss Smith, the grammar teacher, did you? You will use a period after. I learned recently through a class I took about generations in the workforce class about texting, right? And I was like, I know how to text. And then they started saying, do you use thumbs up or thumbs down? I was like, yes, I do. And I'm thinking that she's going to give us a trophy for that, right? No, that's bad. Oh, do you use smiley faces or sad faces? Yes, I do. Yeah, don't do that. What? And so then I was just staring at my phone. The whole time I'm listening to her, I'm staring at my phone. I was like, I don't know how to text. I clearly don't know how to text. And then they said, do you use those little video clips in your texting? Yes, I do. I know how to drop those in. And I'm thinking I did it. A good thing here. Yeah, don't do that either. It's like, holy cow. I don't know how to communicate. Clearly, I don't know how. And so it's become a joke because I thumbs up, thumbs down, smiley faced everyone in that room, right? But the period at the end of the sentence is new to me today. And it's kind of freaking me out.
My dad jokes, he goes, you are the menace of that office, because I'll come in and I'll have, like, when you have a button-up shirt, you can tuck just half of it in, and I call it the half tuck. And now everyone in our office has started doing it. And so, or I'll say your fit is fire or something like that. And they'll be like, so everyone started saying it to one another. So he goes, you're just a menace in that office, just teaching them the Gen Z. And I said, no, I think it's really about meeting each other where we are, you know, like, they know me, I'm coming in a little bit younger, but there's so much I can learn from them too. And it's just really a balance of learning. And I'm going to go back to it. That's the culture we have, is we care about each other enough, and we're meeting each other where we're at. I think it's really cool. Yeah.
I tried the half tuck. My husband about had to come apart. He was like,
you got to come by our office. I'll be like, yes, Regina. I love it.
As you were saying that, Ashlyn likes to tell people they are iconic a lot. And there is like a little bit of a age difference between me and Ashlyn. I'd never heard that before. And now I've started saying that to like my husband, and he thinks that's ridiculous. I think Ashlyn even made Anita, one of our other employee health nurses, a card that said, you are iconic. And she glittered it and everything.
Put a little glitter on the iconic.
Wow. Okay, I want to start to bring us to an end of this conversation. I've enjoyed this. I've learned things. I've been just a little bit traumatized, maybe. No, not seriously. One of my favorite questions at the end of every one of the podcasts that I've had the opportunity to join and be part of is to ask you to share a favorite story that you have about our topic. So is that in the workforce? Is that in your personal life? So let me just get the words right. Can you share a favorite story or moment from your time at Liberty Hospital or your education, something that made you feel special or valued and valuable in healthcare?
Well, I recently have gotten the delight of dealing with some occupational exposure events here at Liberty. And typically, my leader has been on vacation during those. And if she would have been there, she would have taken care of all of it, and she would have done a phenomenal job like she always does. But though she was gone, it kind of fell into my lap. And while I was kind of navigating unknown territory, I got to kind of lead those projects and those exposures and kind of see them through. And I'm just like, I'm so grateful for that opportunity, right? Because I'm the newest person in employee health. I've been here, like I said, for a little bit over a year, but her not being there gave me the opportunity to tackle those and to really learn and grow. I guess so much from the first one that the universe thought I should take care of a second one about 3 to 4 weeks later. And so that's been one of my most favorite opportunities here with Liberty is the opportunity for growth and to kind of not necessarily prove myself, but giving me the opportunity to learn more and work with like a multidisciplinary team and seeing those things kind of get taken care of and wrap up so that I can utilize those skills and that knowledge in the future. So
Yeah, I love that. And another thing that you bring out in that story is the level of trust that does exist in our organization. You might not be in the manager's role, but she trusts you to take care of things while she's away.
Yeah.
And you do it, and do it with grace, with ease. So I love that. I love that story. So Ashley.
I think something recently that has kind of stood out to me, which I love our team. I think if you've ever come into the HR office, you know, we're there for a good time, but we also do really good work. But something cool recently is we've had an intern at our campus in our HR department, and I have kind of gotten to be spearheading that, and I've gotten to give her some projects and kind of bring her into that community. And it's just been something that's been really fun for me recently. I get to teach her about some of the work I do, but I also get to show her like how much culture matters and how much, how amazing it is to love what you do and to come into work. And I know that's just not true for everyone, that not everyone says, I really look forward to going into work and seeing my coworkers, but that is a really cool thing that I get to sit here and say and bring her into as well. So I think recently that's been one of my favorite things, is to kind of show her the ropes on that and just kind of bring her into the community we have there in the HR department.
I love that. So you heard it here. Human Resources is having a good time at work. So I want to thank you guys. I really, coming in today, I had no idea. I was like, I am going to feel like a dinosaur today. I know I am, but I don't. Thank you for handling me gently today. And thank you for watching today and being part of our conversation. And I'd like to invite you back as we dig into more really intense conversations and relevant conversations and how our workforce and how our healthcare industry is being impacted right now. So until next time.